This is the handover for the Globe Car Campscout Revolution. We'll begin on the outside of the vehicle with some exterior features. Down below the sliding door you have an extendable step. That extendable step is controlled by a switch which is just inside the door, and the operation of the step is done by you pressing the switch in and out. If the step is not retracted when you start the vehicle, an audible alarm will sound in the cab reminding you to retract it. It does not retract on ignition. Underneath the bed at the back of the vehicle you have your gas cylinder. It's important that you make sure that the gas supply is switched on and off at the brass nut which is located on top of the cylinder. Alright, twisting motion enables you to secure the gas cylinder for transit or to unscrew it for gas use. Always make sure that your gas supply is switched off at the bottle. Underneath the rear bed on the right hand side of the vehicle you have your fresh water tank. We've already shown you how it's filled from the outside. There are two red inspection hatches which you can use for cleaning or for sterilising the tank by unscrewing. They are usually quite stiff and firm, and you need to make sure that they are securely tightened whenever the vehicle is in transit, otherwise water can leak out of the top. Adjacent to that you have a black dial which is the control valve for opening up the tank for winter storage and for draining, but you can also put it into a travel mode where it retains 20 litres of water as the illustration shows you. Unscrew on that nut there. The main feature of the Campscout Revolution is its adjustable bed at the back. So you have two bunk arrangements. The upper bed is electrically controlled via a control panel. There are two control panels located in the van, one just inside the back doors, one further forward adjacent to the main control panel. Insert the key, and as long as there is 12 volt power switched on at the battery, you should be able to raise and lower the bed according to the arrow illustration on the control panel. It's your choice whether or not you assemble the lower bed. This mattress section has hard boards in the base of it. They are heavy and typically require two people to manoeuvre into position, and the cross braces which are located through the locker space can also be removed to allow additional access and loading. Located up underneath the upper bed mechanism there is an override, so in the event of motor failure, insert the sprocket into the hole and twist. You can only rotate so far, and it is a slow action which has to be repeated in order to override and release the bed mechanism. On the strut tower there is a kill switch, so in the event of the bed mechanism being turned on accidentally and someone engaging the motor system, anyone lying in bed can press the kill switch and it overrides and stops the motor from squashing the occupant below. Globe Car is fitted with a Fiamma rollout awning. Insert the hook into the loop and then twist with the handle and extend the awning out so that you are able to reach the helmet. Inside the helmet are two legs which have to be lowered into position. You must always use the legs whenever the awning is in use. Extend out on the ends first of all, and then extend from the middle, and then allow the awning leg to rotate through your hands and down onto the floor. Lower it down, and there is a twist knob on the end of the leg. Lower it into position to a sufficient height, and then lock off into position. Repeat the process with the opposite leg. and then continue to wind the awning out and walk the legs out to give you your support. Like so. These are sunshades. In wet or windy conditions, they must be put away. To put the awning away, undo the knob again and in reverse, just lock it slightly, twist the leg up so that it rests into the pelmet. Make sure that the foot is flat inside the pelmet in this way, otherwise it can damage the awning when it's retracted. Squeeze both ends back into position. With a firm click, and then wind the awning back into position. If you are winding the awning out, make sure that the sliding door is closed. Occasionally, in windier conditions, the top of the door can hit the underside of the awning and that will cause damage. On the passenger side of the vehicle, you have your wastewater and toilet cassette lockers. The toilet cassette locker, insert the key and twist, and then push in on both knobs simultaneously to allow the door to open. There is a magnetic latch in the back of the door to allow the door to support itself against the body of the van. Located inside, you have a slide-out toilet cassette. Pull up on the blue lever and draw the cassette out towards you. On a campsite, you will have disposal points for these to be emptied into. You can use a handle and the wheels provided to draw the cassette across the ground if needs be. Extend the neck out, remove the blue cap. The blue cap has a measurement system on it so that it allows you to top up discharge chemical with the refilling of the process. For the emptying of the cassette, press the blue button on the back of the cassette and then tip up, and that will allow an airflow to go through the system and allow the cassette to be easily emptied. Before you load it back in, make sure that you put some water and some chemical back in, and then reinsert accordingly. Make sure that the blue lever clicks back into position. If it's not properly inserted, then the toilet cassette won't work internally. Lock your cassette after use. On the lower skirt of the vehicle, there is a black rod attached by 2 bolts sticking out from underneath the vehicle. There is a handle provided which enables you to open the lever and close the lever for the wastewater discharge. So all the water that's accumulated from the shower tray, the vanity in it and the kitchen sink goes into that holding tank, drive over a drain or a gully to discharge that wastewater. Further along the side of the vehicle, you have 2 ports. First port that you see is the exhaust vent for the gas operation of the water heating, room heating system. Make sure that isn't obstructed or blocked in any way. And then adjacent to that, you have your mains lead connection. Make sure it's inserted properly for effective use of the mains supply. Fuel filler cap. Use the ignition key, unfold it and insert into the lock. Twist and then twist with the cap, and that enables you then to remove and fill up with the fuel. At the end of the passenger dashboard, there is a lever for the opening of the bonnet. Pull forwards, you should hear a clunk within inside. Underneath the passenger floor, you have located your engine battery. You lift the bonnet externally by pushing up on a lever in the middle of the bonnet space. Over on the right hand side, should the vehicle battery become flat, there is a black lever which can be popped up using the end of the ignition key, and it reveals behind it the paddle. The positive can be attached to there for jump starting, and the negative can be attached to the bolt as shown to enable you to jump start the vehicle. You don't have to access the engine battery underneath the floor. Your oil filler cap and oil dipstick are located just so, and then you have your brake fluid, radiator reservoir, power steering fluid, and then finally your screen washer cap located on the end there. Located up above the sliding door, you have your 12-volt control panel. The control panel is turned on using the button down on the left hand side. When you want to use the main supply, there's a main control board underneath the forward facing seat box. When those switches are turned on, you should see a yellow light illuminate on the top left hand side of the board. The additional switches down the right hand side give you your battery level indication, your freshwater level indication, and your grey water wastewater level indication. The operating control panel for the hot water heater and room heating system is located adjacent to the 12-volt control panel. To turn the heater on, press and hold in the black button, and you will see some characters and displays come up on the control. Use the knob to rotate through the different characters to get to different locations. Currently we have your water heater on a combination of electric and gas. Select the water heater, and to turn it off, switch off accordingly. To turn it on, and then select an eco mode, hot water mode, or a boost mode to assist or maintain the water temperature. If you're wanting room heating, then choose the symbol that has the thermostat inside the motorhome, and simply take the control panels up to a desired temperature, and it will provide you with a recirculatory blown air heating system out of the various outlets that are located around the vehicle and into the bed space. To deselect it, go into the application and make sure that you've turned it back down to the off mode. It's the same story with the water heater, turn it down to the off mode as well. You have a choice of power supplies and sources of energy that you can use. Typically, if you are wild camping, you would use it in a gas mode only, so it uses a 12-volt igniter and circulation fan if required, and runs exclusively from the gas supply. If you are on a mains electric setup, so you have the yellow light on the control panel, you have a choice of a 900 or an 1800 watt mains electric element indicated by the double or single spark symbol at the top. In colder conditions, you can operate it using a combination of both the electric and the gas simultaneously, either on a low or a high electric setting. Finally, there's a fan control. The fan can be boosted when the heating system is on, but in warm weather conditions, to allow airflow to recirculate around the inside of the van, simply select the fan symbol and then select the vent, and then increase or decrease the fan speed, and it will recirculate airflow within the van. On the bottom row, you have a timer function. So everything that we've set up on the water heating and the room heating system can be set in via a timer. So if you want to engage the water heating or the room heating or both to come on at a certain time of day and go off at a certain time of day, you can do so. That works in conjunction with the clock. So again, you can go in and select to the right time of day. And then finally, there is a settings button for adjusting principal settings within the van, including the language of the control panel. The 2-burner hob, you will need a gas match or a lighter in order to engage. Having turned on your gas supply, you should be able to turn the knobs over and start to see a blue flame coming through. On a bright sunny day with a stainless steel background, it can be difficult to see. The burners do not cut out if the glass lid comes down onto them, so make sure that the unit is properly cooled before you fold the lever and fold the lid down. Adjacent to the shower door there are some gas isolation taps. If you've turned off the gas supply at the bottle, there's no immediate requirement to use these, but if you feel more comfortable isolating the gas supply to appliances, then the bottom one can be used to turn off the hob supply, and the top one can be used to turn off the gas supply to the water heating room heating system. The central one is redundant. Below the forward facing seat you have your hot water heater. This unit is equipped with a thermostatic drain valve. In the event of the air temperature in this space going below 2 degrees centigrade, the blue valve on top automatically opens like so. To reset the valve, you must turn it back through 90 degrees and press in the button at the base, and that will allow you to refill the water heater. You can only operate the water heater if it's full of water, so we recommend that you fill up the freshwater tank, turn on the hot water taps and draw the water through. If the system is empty, it will take around about 2 minutes of hissing and spitting for the water to come through. Make sure that you've drawn the water through all of the taps in the van. So that's the sink, the vanity unit and also the shower. You have a 12-volt compressor fridge located inside the van. At the top of the unit you have 3 control buttons, and they are principally the main on-off switch. There is a nighttime mode, and then there is a thermostatic mode for increasing or decreasing the temperature within the fridge. It works on a revolving basis, so you can increase the coolness within the fridge or decrease it accordingly. If the fridge is switched on and it's operating properly, you should have an interior light come on when you open the fridge door. This unit will have been on prior to your collection and therefore should be nice and cold. Earlier on we ran up the water heater, and we will do this on again on the day of your collection, so you should have hot water coming out of all of the taps available. As you can see here with the steam that's rising from the casement. The shower door is retained with a popper stud. It's important that the shower door is secured before travel. Undo the popper stud and that will allow you then to slide the door back. There is also a shower curtain which can be drawn across and also secured with popper studs down the wall panel, and then remove the base out to allow you to use the shower. Behind the curtain you have your toilet cassette. If the cassette has been properly inserted, you should be able to slide the main gate lever over, and when you lift up the seat you'll see that the aperture has opened into the main cassette. Let your waste pass through and then press down on the blue button at the back of the cassette to allow water to flush around the inside of the bowl. The flush water comes from your main freshwater tank. Light switch for the 12-volt lights that are located in the bathroom. Your vanity unit also is your shower, with the tap lever open and the head depressed and locked into position. You can use it as a sink. Switch off and release, and then pull out on the shower head, and it can be used as the shower by squeezing the trigger manually. There are a range of interior lights around the inside of the vehicle. The ones up on the ceiling have 2 switches on for a low glow and for a brighter luminosity of light. The sliding spotlights have their own individual switches on, and then there are group switches for the interior central lights, which also operate the bathroom lights as well. Although the roof lights are different sizes, they operate in exactly the same way. Press in on the main beige button and pull the lever down towards you, and then slide the handle back along the key grip to set it to your desired location and position. You must make sure that the roof lights are locked and closed for transit. The same applies to all of your plastic windows. They need to be in the locked position and tight. There is also a blind or a fly screen for you to use as well. The one above the bed operates in exactly the same way. On the sliding door, you have a fly screen as well. It does operate better if you use two hands, one placed above the other, to slide the door out, and obviously to push back in also. All the main windows have a blind. You pull down on the blind first of all, and then you pull down again for the fly screen, and then you can push up both sections together and push in on your latches to release the windows around each one of the frame positions and retract accordingly, making sure that they are locked in the closed position. When you open the driver's door, there is a control panel on the driver's door for the operation of the electric mirrors, as well as the window, and an override for the central locking system. You also have door blinds. They can be pulled forward, give you privacy, and retracted accordingly, making sure that they are locked back into position. There's a similar mechanism on the main windscreen blind as well, and again you need to make sure that they are locked back into position firmly before you depart. Instrument binnacle and steering column. You have your indicator controls and light controls on the top left hand side. Below that, on the lower stalk, you have your cruise control and speed limiter. On the right hand side of the stalk, you have your wiper controls and also the access for the trip computer. The lower dial is for the operation of the rear fog light, and also for your headlamp beam adjustment. If the vehicle is laden, you can adjust the position of the headlights accordingly. With the ignition key inserted, you should see your instrument binnacle lights come on. And then to start the vehicle, make sure that your foot is on the clutch and turn the key accordingly. Reverse on this vehicle is engaged by you pulling up on the central stalk and pushing the lever away from you and forward to engage the reverse. The rest of the gearbox is conventional with a first, second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth position. Standard radio CD player fitted into the middle. We've pre-tuned it with a selection of stations for you, and then your ventilation controls for the speed of the fan and temperature, and then the direction of the fan and whether you're drawing airflow from inside or outside the vehicle. The button control that says or suggests that there's a heated rear window. There are no heated rear windows, but this does operate demisters that are mounted inside of the door mirrors. There's another central locking button next to it, and then adjacent to that you have your hazard light switch. Also located on the central instrument binnacle are two additional switches. The one on the left hand side is for activating the hill descent control. The one on the right hand side, if the light is illuminated, it disengages your traction control. You might want to use this if you were driving on loose ground or icy conditions. Further over, there are USB and 12 volt power supply connections. Passenger airbag. Behind the airbag you also have an additional locker with the air conditioning on. This also doubles up as a mini fridge. There are then another further forward locker underneath the passenger side dash.